Basic competences. Coaching is a tool with many guidelines. You will get the guidelines one by one, and you may want to return to the guidelines while you are training and experiencing the tool. Professional coaches use years and hundreds of coaching sessions to master this competence because it is so complex. Start with the basics and move on from there. Even the basics take a lot of time to master, but you will soon discover that even though you do not master the basics, you still get good results with the tool. The first things presented are the basics: to listen, to ask questions, to reflect. Next you will find a structure called Grow, Goal, Reality, Options and Will, which can be used as a guide to a coaching conversation. You will then get a lot of different aspects of coaching that can in time help you to explore your own personal coaching style. To listen, to ask questions, and to reflect. To listen means to listen without being interrupted by own thoughts and wishes. To listen to what is said in both words and through body language. To listen to what is really important to the focus person. Level 1. Listen to yourself. This is not a good position to be in when you're coaching, if you're listening to your own ideas, your own perception of the situation, and are fully concentrated on delivering your own suggestions and solutions for the other person. You are not coaching, but giving instructions. If you have once been a competent specialist, you probably have many answers. These answers worked for you, but maybe they won't work for your employee. At the same time, the employee will not experience to be seen, heard, nor taken seriously. An inner dialogue that is not supportive for the coaching can be when you are thinking of how you would do it if you were in the focus person situation. Acknowledge that the inner dialogue is there and find your way back to listen to the focus person instead. While listening at level 1, there is a risk that we lose our connection to the focus person. Therefore, it is an important discipline in coaching to stay out of an unsupportive level 1. It can be a necessity, though, to listen to yourself on level 1 if you find yourself unable to be fully present. You might need a mental timeout and ask yourself what disturbs you as a way to get back and be fully present. While you're taking your mental timeout, you will discover that the employee will finally get some space to come up with own suggestions. Find your curious and present state of mind before starting a coaching conversation. Level 2. Listen to the focus person. This is a good position to be in when you are coaching. You listen to the other person in order to see, hear, and feel what he or she is saying and expressing. This calls for your empathy. From this position, you are able to ask relevant questions to get the other person to see his reality from different perspectives and come up with solid ideas on how to move forward. A typical pitfall for a coach is to start listening on level 2 and then switch to level 1 by thinking, how can this be a challenge for the employee? It can't be that hard. Or, is this supposed to be a success? Anyone can do that. Acknowledge that this is where the employee is at the moment. Start by thinking, interesting. Your job is to help the employee take a next step. To do that, the employee needs to feel competent at the present state and then move forward. Your expectations for a higher competence level does not help that process. Another typical pitfall for a coach is to think, I don't know anything about this subject, so I cannot possibly help. Trust that the employee is competent and already have half-finished ideas. Your task is not to come up with the answers. Your job is to listen, ask questions, and reflect. Level 3. Listen to what is not said and use your intuition. This is a great position to be in when you are coaching. This level gives you informations that are not words. You might see that the hands were moving even further down in the pockets when you asked a certain question. You might hear that the voice is vaguer at one point, or that excitement is visible by hands moving a bit more. You might see that the employee is shaking his or her head from side to side, as when you are saying no, and is at the same time saying, yes, that sounds like a good solution. Be aware that body and mind is connected. And most often there is a connection between a change in the body's behavior and changed feelings and thoughts. Ask questions to the observations you have, like, I can see your hands moving further down in your pockets when this particular question is asked. How come? I sense that your voice is getting vaguer. What are you thinking now? I sense that you're more excited now. What is going on? I observed that you were shaking your head from side to side and at the same time saying, yes, that sounds like a good solution. Which is more right for you? Listening at level 2 and 3 is the perfect position while coaching. Curiosity and empathy are necessary competences to do that. Ask questions. The purpose of asking questions is to help the focus person to be curious about other perspectives, help create a movement beyond the comfort zone, and at the same time support the focus person to keep the responsibility for acting upon own decisions. To ask questions means to use questions that gets the focus person to be attentive and open, to use questions that maintain the focus person's responsibility for acting, to use questions that broaden the focus person's way of thinking about own situation. Questions can be closed-ended questions or open-ended questions. Do you like to be in this situation? What is more important to you of the two? Will you get more support from Anne and Bill? Open-ended questions. Tell me about your situation. What is more important for you to do? How will you get the support you need? An open-ended question is designed to encourage a meaningful answer using the focus person's own knowledge and/or feelings. Open-ended questions are often more objective than closed-ended, and often starts with words such as why, what, how, when, and who. An open-ended question is often embedded in a sentence starting with tell me about, even though it isn't a question. It is just meant to be perceived that way. One of the most used open-ended questions is how do you feel about? It is one of the most used because it is powerful. There are feelings involved in most coaching conversations, and that is why it is such an important open-ended question. A closed-ended question is designed to encourage a short or single-word answer, meaning that there are only limited possibilities for an answer, for instance, yes or no, blue or red. Closed-ended question can also start with why, what, how, when, and who, but with choices embedded in the question. Closed-ended questions are good if you want to clarify if you as a coach have understood right. This clarification can help you ask the right questions. A closed-ended question can also be formed as a leading question where the coach's opinion is attached. For instance, are you going for the obvious opportunity or the more insecure suggestion? Leading questions are not desirable in coaching since they most probably reflect the coach's own opinion in a non-value-adding way. To reflect. Reflection offers time for the focus person to assess own situation, possibilities, and choices. It also offers time to be curious, to be present, to feel competent, and to believe. Reflection is important to both the focus person and the coach. The focus person needs time for reflection. If you have asked a valuable question, then give the focus person valuable time to reflect before answering. If you feel that the focus person does not take the time needed, but is eager to deliver an answer, then ask the person to reflect. This often happens in a manager-employee relation where the employee is eager to give an answer. Give an adequate pause or ask the focus person to think before answering. The reflection is often more valuable than the answer. You might want to leave the person alone for a while and not have eye contact. This way you do not disturb the reflection. Your reflections are both on what you see, hear, and feel is going on in the focus person, and also what you hear, see, feel that you are doing yourself. Last but not least, you can reflect on whether the coaching is on track or not. To reflect means to acknowledge the focus person's ability to find own solutions, to appreciate the focus person's right to think and feel as he or she does, to show empathy for the focus person's situation and point of view. Your reflection is triggered by your curiosity. It can, for instance, be when you wonder why the focus person's body language changes, why the tonation changes, why an unexpected pause occurs, why one thing seems to be more true than another, why one thing said earlier in the conversation is a contradiction to something said a minute ago, why the focus person changes the subject, why the focus person avoids taking responsibility for own chosen actions.